Okay, assuming you've watched the intro video, let's go with a quick overview of the machine. The machine is rated as an appliance. It does plug in. So somewhere on your wall is a plug. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 people cut this off and hardwire the machine. That's fine too. Most of my videos are going to try and cover the majority, and I will also try to talk about any special cases as well. But the machine plugs in. The smaller unit uses roughly 5.5 amps running, depending on if it's heating or cooling. More if it's heating, slightly less if it's cooling. The bigger machine uses about 7.5 amps running, and again, less when it's cooling. It is on wheels, so if you've got this in your basement, 80+% of our installs are in basements where this is going to be right next to your furnace. All of the machines, even from the beginning, look like this. It's kind of a beige, ivory white. It's not jet white, but it's a white box. They are almost entirely the identical size. The bigger machine and smaller machine can only be differentiated by the tag on the back, and we'll look at that in a second. But it is on wheels. The air comes out the top. This is the exhaust, if you will, or the supply air. So our warm air when the machine is running, anywhere from 80 on the low side, typically 85, 95 degree air will be coming out here. If we twist it around, on the backside of the machine, typically you're going to have a kind of a trapezoidal return air plenum that came with the machine. That allows me or your installer to mount, the return air duct, which we, typically is going to be 12-inch duct, either hard or flex. I do exclusively flex, which lets me keep the unit mobile so I can get at any of the sides if I need to work on it. Behind the machine, this is a newer model, but they've all got an on-off switch. A lot of times if you don't have power at your machine, this switch will be in the middle position. It is a breaker switch, so if you have weird incoming power for a minute, or the machine, maybe the run capacitor was funky for a minute and the contacts closed and the compressor didn't start, it overloaded the switch, this will trip. This always trips before the breaker in the wall. Very rarely does the breaker in the panel trip. They're typically a 20 amp 2-pole breaker. This is a 240 volt machine. So if you come downstairs and you don't have heating or cooling, first thing to check, flip this down and then flip it back up, which will reset the power to the machine. And we're going to talk about how you can determine that in another video. But here's where the air comes in the back of the machine. Comes in here, comes out the top. And if you look down in, you'll see the blower. It's a very simple machine. Air filter here. Direction of flow, of course, is into the machine. On the back, you see we've got a return air probe here. We've got our logger, which we're going to talk about in a completely separate series of videos. This uploads run data to your machine, to the web from your machine every minute if it's connected to the internet. This is a fairly recent item, maybe in the last 4 years. I've been installing for 8, so the first 3 or 4 years I was installing, we didn't even have these. There's caps on here, but your water in, water out, and that is just standard hose barb. And again, because this is an appliance, we typically will attach water in and water out with hoses. That's all there is to it. The newer machines, what I call the Gen 3 and Gen 4, those are official, not official designations. In fact, I was joking with the engineer at the factory recently about that, and he says, we don't have Gen machines. And I said, well, I labeled them Gens based on the different revisions you came up with, but you may or may not have a condensate outline. A lot of the Gen 1 and Gen 2 machines dumped that right into the exit pipe inside the machine from the condensate pump, which is also inside the machine. So that's pretty much it for an overview. You know, it's basically the size and footprint of a standard furnace. It's about 22 inches wide. With the plenum, it's just under 3 feet deep. So that's a quick overview, and next we'll get into some tighter stuff.